Okay, welcome to our video for golf course hole design using a topographic map by Matt and Ryan. So we were tasked with designing 3 golf holes on this topographic map here. So what this topographic map is it's a representation of a unit of land, and the way it works is these lines represent different elevations and kind of show the hills and contours and the layout of the land. So the little circles here indicate where a hill would be, and as you go further down, that creates the slope. The closer the lines are to each other, the more steep of a slope it is. And you can find the elevation, which is measured in feet, by these numbers here. And so if we were to go to this 250 line here, which is the bolded black line, and then to this 275 other bolded black line, you can find the other elevations of the non-bolded lines by the increments that they go up by. So from 250 to 275 is 25, which means that each line represents a 5-foot increment. So this line here will be 225, this is 230, 235, 240, 245, and then you get back up to the 250, which you can see there. The scale here, it says 1 inch is equal to 600 feet, but this map was enhanced, so that no longer represents 1 inch. But we calculated it into yards for our holes, and we found that roughly just over 1 inch gives us 67 yards, and so that's what we used to design these 3 holes.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is what we need to think about when creating golf holes. So this is an overview of our entire map of the property. In here you can see we've already designed our first 3 holes, and we're going to continue along with that to make it an entire 18 in the future. So the first thing we're doing is starting at the clubhouse and going out. And the next thing you're going to want to remember is that the 9th hole should come back into the clubhouse, and then the 10th hole should go away from it. This could change if you have a halfway house somewhere, but that's just what an ideal golf course should look like. So sometimes when I tend to plan things, I generally look for kind of the easiest way of being a shortcut and am not thinking ahead. So you can see here our first hole comes around the bend along our property edge, and then our second hole continues upwards on the slope. As you can see, these contour lines means this fairway is going quite a bit elevated upwards from where the tee box is. Where the tee box is at about 250 feet, and then our green, that little corner there is 350 feet, so it's a 100-foot elevation from tee box to green. My original plan after the first hole, Matt was kind enough to edit that for me. I had the tee box going here, and I saw this large area of flat land, so I just had a straightaway par 4 going as hole number 2 into here, and then a straightaway par 3 coming back following along with the flat land. But we've realized that that doesn't really make for a challenging golf course. That doesn't make anything exciting for us, and while that might be an easy second and third hole to build, where's hole 4 going to go? Because you can see the third green was supposed to be right here, but that's really at the bottom of the valley with cliff edges right around it. So where's the 4th tee box going to go? So Matt and I made some edits to that, and we kept our first hole the same, which is about a 520-yard par 5 dogleg right. Then after the first green, you can find closely along is the second tee box. And then, as I mentioned before, it's going uphill right into the second green. And then our third tee box is a short par 3, which goes along into here. And you can imagine where we would plan. Our 4th tee box would be right around here in the top of the hill, and we'd be able to have the 4th hole going downhill. And so the biggest thing when looking at a topographical map in order to design a golf course is thinking ahead. It's not just getting to the third green. It's where's the fourth hole going to go? Where's the fifth hole going to go? Sixth hole, and so on.
So I'm just going to go into a little bit more detail for exactly what we did for this project. We were tasked with creating 3 holes. Hole 1 is around a 520-yard par 5. So just like Ryan said, we had the tee boxes here right by the clubhouse, and we made it a big dog leg, right dog leg, with 3 fairway bunkers located on the left-hand side. And this is kind of we planned it to be kind of a strategic hole design. You can have 3 different types of hole design: strategic, heroic, and penal. It's kind of controversial over exactly what those have, and I think that each golf hole kind of entails usually an aspect of all 3 of them. But the main thing for hole 1 is strategic. It depends your tee shot. You can try and cut the corner here, and it's around 280 to 300 yards to get to this area here. So depending how far you can hit it, you can cut the corner and make the second shot quite a bit shorter, or you can do the safe route by playing here in front of the bunkers and then laying up here and then going towards the green. We tried to place the green here on a relatively flat area. There is a little bit of an elevation change, but overall the green seems to be pretty level. And then we put 2 bunkers on the back side of the green there. That leads into our second hole, which is another strategic design. And it's a dog leg left with a big fairway bunker right in the middle. So your tee shot, you can either go to the right of the bunker here, to the left of the bunker here, or if you don't want to hit it in the bunker, you can hit it shorter, but that would make your second shot quite a bit more challenging. This green here is located on quite a hilly area, so it might need a little bit more construction to make it fair to play. But just the way we had it laid out, having our first hole and second hole up here, you get to the top of a pretty big hill, and the view you would get from up there is pretty amazing. We think it would be a pretty cool design to have. And that takes us into our third tee box, which is located on this section of the hill on that relatively flat area there. And oh, sorry, just going back, the second hole is 388-yard par 4. And so now this third hole is our par 3, which is around 183 yards. And this one we decided we'd try and make it more of a penal hole. So there's no fairway, it's just a par 3, decently long par 3 from the tips, being like 185 yards. And so the green is relatively small, with water located to the left and right and all around the back. And since you're at those elevated tees, it makes hitting it a longer shot way more likely than hitting a shorter shot. So that's kind of why it's penal. And then if you are short, you're going to be still on a slope or in the bunker here. And those were kind of our 3 hole designs, and we thought it was a pretty good layout. And we could bring hole 4 could either be something interesting, like going up above this hill, because this peak is pretty high here, and then coming back down the hill, or we could keep going this way to the right and end up bringing back down to the clubhouse kind of through this flat area eventually. But we thought this initial 3 hole setup was a great start, and looks pretty good.
Alright, thanks Matt for describing our first 3 holes, and as you mentioned before, there's 2 strategic holes and 1 penal hole, and you know, those golf course design aspects are something we're going to keep in mind throughout designing all the rest of our holes on this course. Just because, you know, we mentioned things like the second green being up high and it being very distinctive views, and we just want to create a course that's fun to play, and we believe that the hills and valleys of this topographical map really invite that sort of high quality of golf, which is why we've also put fairway bunkers in the middle to make everything more challenging. And we believe with the ups and downs of everything within this topographical map, it's something that could be very challenging from a construction point of view. But at the end of the day, we're going to really do a lot to change this land and make every hole have a reason. So it's not just, as I mentioned before, trying to find the easiest ways and what might be the cheapest. It's creating a golf course is being able to find that balance between what we can do to create as beautiful a golf course as we can, a challenging golf course as we can, and something that's still playable, so people will have fun out there and be able to attract golfers in general.